Some people feel that to live longer, you need to retire earlier because work is going to kill you. But on the other hand, there are some people also who think that to live longer, you need to keep working. There are benefits. Work keeps you alive. So before we discuss further, leave in the comment sections which side of the camp do you lean towards. I have my own pick, but today I've done research to show you both sides of the coin and to see if you can get best of both worlds. So let's start by this side of the camp, which is to live longer, you need to retire earlier. I think the most obvious reason is of course stress from work, correct? Now there are actually statistics that suggest that a rise in stress at work will increase the probability of someone retiring by 15.4%, which means a lot of people throw in their letter because they get so fed up, so stressed out at work. That's what it means. Then the study further mentions that retirement decreases stress by 34.5 percentage point. This is actually a stress and retirement paper. There are other studies that support that retiring earlier benefits you because you can avoid some stress of work. Stress of work will cause people to age faster. Take a guess by how long? By 6 years. 6 years of aging. The key reasons: high blood pressure, immune system suppression, maybe due to sleepless nights, etc., and all sorts of other problems, such as eye problems, which is what I face. That's why maybe in a few years' time, I'll be wearing my spectacles while I film already, but now I still can see the screen. Now I'm getting this long-sightedness coming in, maybe because I do excessive hours also. So I understand, many of you, or including myself, can't wait to retire, don't feel that stress, especially when the going gets tough. And there's this book that actually started this whole FIRE movement. I know you know you're not, which is Your Money or Your Life. This book came in 1990s, and the title is just so serious, correct? It's like kind of hinting to you, if you keep grabbing money, you would lose your life kind of perspective. So having said that, let's recap for everybody some useful points. And it starts with this. It's never too late to make changes. If work is making you overly stressed, then maybe learn to draw better boundaries. Learn to set cut-off dates. Stop reading messages and emails unnecessary at night. That's something I also worry for my staff, for my own immediate team, and sometimes even for myself, because there are reports that suggest that 7 out of 10 Singaporeans say they have a poor work-life balance due to overwhelming workload. This is by a 2020 study by Randstad Recruitment Agency. So as always, learn to take breaks, learn to take vacations. You've probably heard of this advice before, that vacations can help prevent burnout. Vacations remove certain mundaneness in your life that causes unhappiness, etc. and etc. Nowadays, there's also this idea of taking mini retirements, which is break from work, a sabbatical. Especially in Europe and US, this has been quite common already. But I see this more with my younger private clients. Those of the older generation, 40s, 50s, 60s, usually this concept of mini retirement is quite foreign. I do get it. And for my own case, I've also seen that it doesn't really impact the career too much. At least from the small sample size of private clients that I've seen, that have taken this route. And as always, I'd like to do a quick shout out. I will be doing a CPF seminar very soon to help Singaporeans understand CPF better, to help Singaporeans understand investing a bit better. Look for links below for more details. The last time I did a Georgetown meet at Esplanade, it was sold out. At this point of filming, we've sold out more than 40% of our seats already. So if you'd like to find a bit better on how to invest, how to retire earlier, how to plan your CPF, look for links below and purchase your tickets today. The second reason that you can live longer if you retire earlier is quite obviously retirement frees up more time, correct? More time to take care of your health, more time to sleep more, travel more, etc. etc. But before we get too far on that train of thought, let me show you something published by CPF that seems a contrary evidence. And it reads, on the side you'll see, retired men saw an increase in polyclinic costs and healthcare visits. There are certain numbers, it's not only in men, but as you read over here, you also realize that there's possibly that the increase in healthcare utilization, right at the very bottom, in post-retirement was also due to having more time to seek healthcare treatment after retirement. So if you are a retiree already, let me know in the comment section. Let all of us know, what is your own experience? Do you take care more of your health once you get into retirement? And do you travel more or not? Because this is also another point about having more time. Experts and scientists believe that traveling more keeps you young, something we've touched about just now. But the point is this, In order to travel more in retirement, you need a little bit more financially, correct? You must aim a bit more than lean FIRE. And what exactly is lean FIRE? Let's start by understanding what is FIRE first. FIRE is financial independence, retire early. And that definition is you have 25 years of annual expenses, which means if your monthly expenses is 3,000 plus per month, that could work out to be 40,000. You times 25 to that, it means that if you have $1 million invested, you can withdraw out 4% with inflation, and that pot has been tested to last for at least 35 years. That again is the definition for financial independence, retire FIRE. But lean FIRE means that you have only a minimalistic amount of expenses, or you count only core expenses. You know, some people are super frugal. They spend only $1,000 or $1,500 of expenses. There are already some who are super frugal. And when you realize that the expense level is so low, lean FIRE for core and minimalistic expenses will work out to be only about $400,000-$500,000 will do, because that can cover $1,000-$1,500 of monthly expenses, correct? But at that amount, probably can't travel much. So I would think that if you want to milk out the benefits of retiring early, you need to aim more than lean FIRE. You need to have budget planning for travel, and you need to be very resourceful, especially when it comes to retirement travel. No more luxury hotels, probably lower end budget hotels, I guess. No more business class, probably budget airline, etc., etc. You get the point. And the more important part is to think about retirement planning. There's this study by Sun Life done in 2024 October. 42% of Singapore correspondents will only start planning for retirement within 5 years of their planned retirement date. And in the report, they further highlighted that even those with higher earnings may be underprepared for retirement. 15% of high-income respondents do not save at least 10% of their income. If this finding is true, that means that many don't actually prepare sufficiently to get to financial independence retirement, because retirement savings is unlikely to be a 5-year runway. You can't build that quickly in most situations, I guess. So hopefully today's message ignites you to think about retirement earlier, and you can start the journey of saving and investing earlier and be better than many that were surveyed in Sun Life's retirement survey. So these are the 2 points that relate more to if you want to live longer, you need to retire earlier. Because stress of work, you get away from it, you live longer, you live healthier. The second is retirement frees up more time. You can take care of yourself, and intuitively, that means longer life, correct? So let's flip to the other side. To live longer, you need to keep working, because work keeps you alive. Now, if you belong to this camp, maybe you have seen certain statistics that suggest that if you retire later, you live longer. One report is this Japanese doctor who worked until his last day and lived to a long age of 105 years old. His message is just that 2 words: don't retire. Maybe he's a workaholic, so I'm not too in favor of that. But the main thing is, across a lot of studies, I didn't see anything conclusive to show that if you retire later, you definitely live longer. In fact, many are pointing towards this healthy worker bias, which means that for this Japanese doctor, for example, he didn't retire until he's 105 years old. But it may not be just the work that allowed him to live very long. Maybe he had superior genetics, maybe he whole day drink green tea, and maybe if he had retired at 45, he could also live to 105. We never know, because healthy worker bias is at place. There are also other studies in my research that suggested that in Sweden, where they allowed male army officers to withdraw pension earlier, it lowered the mortality rate. There are also studies in Netherlands with the same male civil servants allowed pension claim earlier by 8 years. They also had a lower mortality rate. Are these 100% factual? I think it's up for our interpretation. Maybe some will question whether they are biased in their findings or not. So there seems to be some balancing point. Some say you keep working, you stay healthy. The others feel that you get access to pension, retire earlier, you reduce your chances of mortality. You lower your chances of death, etc., etc. And it ties into the second point. Those that believe that to live longer, you retire later, the worry could be in other areas, correct? Such as dementia. We imagine that if we retire, there's no work stress. Would our minds still be sharp or not? Would our minds still be healthy or not? So dementia is also something I'm also thinking about would impact lifespan in general. And one finding that I found on CPF that seems to dispute that had this mention: retirement did not have an impact on cognitive function in the short run. Maybe long run, don't know, because it also depends on how you use your time and life, correct? If you play mahjong whole day, yeah, maybe the cognitive part will still be strong, etc, etc. So let's not link directly retirement and dementia and death too easily. Then what about next part, which is in depression, something that quietly kills the mind and hurts, lifespan in general. There is a finding on risk of clinical depression increasing by 40% in the first few years of retirement. I think this might be quite proven because CPF has also certain advice that recommends elderly or retirees to spend time more wisely. They need to learn to overcome loneliness and depression in retirement because one can feel bored, one can feel lonely, and you need to wake up every morning doing something meaningful that gives you something to look forward for that day. And also last part, social interaction keeps the brain active. So maybe in these aspects, working longer will help you live longer because it kills boredom. Many times we inadvertently find energy doing something good, and work is a very easy place to get that from. Work also is a very easy place to get identity from, where you have also relationships with colleagues and stuff. So if you're a retiree, let us know again your experience. And I'll round up this point also with a LinkedIn analysis that suggested that 13.2% of baby boomers returned to work last year, which is the 5-year high. It validates the point of being bored in retirement and that some retirees realize that they are better off having some form of work. Now, let me share with you my conclusions, and before I get there, as always, smash the like button, smash the subscribe, especially that content like this helps you in your financial planning and retirement planning journey. And my conclusions are, the first, it's probably better to be able to aim to choose whether you want to retire or not. Being financially free is very important, psychologically and also giving you options. Just now we mentioned about that 105-year-old Japanese doctor. I'm sure he was financially free already. It's just that he chose to work and he believes that the work gives him happiness, etc, etc. Maybe he's in a very privileged position, but at least getting to financial freedom allows you to leave work, especially if you feel the stress level is getting too high and stuff. So to that point, avoid taking big property loans that shackle you and make you need to keep working for the money. Also avoid lifestyle inflation. If every trip you're taking business class and stuff already, your expectations inflate, the retirement figures for financial independence gets higher. So the first point, aim to be able to choose to retire earlier, and whether you're on either side of the camp, it's fine also. Then the second is to listen to your body. If it's breaking down already, you're building high blood pressure, you're getting overstressed at work, then maybe it's time to slow down. Because as always, health is wealth, correct? There's no point chonging for money all the way until your health breaks down, and then you realize you're going to spend everything on medical needs again. So it doesn't really make sense. Maybe that's a clue on how long you can work. If you're happily working like the Japanese doctor, your body tells you you're fine, you're happy, then by all means work until 105 years old. My third conclusion is that be aware that retirement is not a promised land of happiness. Through my research, I've seen a lot of negative stuff like depression in retirement, like feeling bored in retirement. It reinforces to me, and something I would like to share with you also, that getting to retirement is more than preparing financially, it's also preparing emotionally. So hopefully this message has some wise wisdom, and as always, check out this previous video I have on 8 habits of happy retirees. Maybe it'll inspire you further in your retirement journey, and I'll see you there too. Take care as always, goodbye.